Okay, we should be live now. I'm not going to bother doing all the starting stuff. I never do anyway, apparently. So we are here with Manny. My name is Mr. Mock, and I am Scarred for Life. We're going to be talking about why God is not real. Okay, hi Manny, how you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. Even though it was a bit of a contentious engagement, I'm glad you engaged with my content, and I always love talking about God, man. So let's do it.
Okay, why do you think that God is real?
Bueno, there's a variety of reasons that range from, I guess, like more important to less important. The most important one that I see is there are so I was an atheist for about 20 years, and I remember there were specific instances, as I was married and I got kids now and all that, that I felt myself kind of my own actions kind of condemned or convicted by the Holy Spirit. And it just made me soul search, and it made me start questioning. And I started looking into, for example, some of the archaeological evidences for the Bible, some of the ways that Jesus is prefigured in the Old Testament, some of the claims made by Islam and the Hindus and the Buddhists and all this. And as I read it, one of the things that strikes to me or stood out to me was, like, whether or not God's real, I guess you could debate it, but we know that evil is real. Like it's out there. And so to try to understand the foundation of evil, I found that the answer lies in your relationship with God. And so that's kind of like a little bit of me, like a little bit of why I believe in God. It's not so much that I believe, is that, like, I know of God. I know of God of the Old Testament, and I'm working my way through the Bible now.
Okay, so you haven't read the book?
So right now I'm in Second Chronicles.
Okay.
In my new study Bible, I got as far as the book of Job in my last one. But obviously I go to church every Sunday, and obviously they're reading the gospel, and I watch plenty of content involving the four gospel narratives: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And
Right,
I know
like most Christians, yeah.
some apologetic videos regarding, like foundations of some certain church teachings found in Revelation or in the letters to Corinthians, etc. So although I haven't read it, I want to say that I'm, like, aware of the general structure of the Bible, and I'm certainly better versed in the Old
Okay.
Testament.
Okay. That's a lot to unpack. You said you don't believe it, but you're like functionally aware of it, like basically, right?
So I prefer, instead of saying like I believe in God, it's like I know of God. I know of the God of the Old Testament. I know of the God that's
Okay,
written in
so
these Hebrew
so are
writings.
you not making the claim that your God is real?
Yeah, he's real.
How so? Because when
Well,
I look at the claims that are made in the Bible, I do a direct comparison with what is stated in the Bible and what is demonstrable reality.
yeah,
Like my basic one that I generally go back to is like DNA versus Adam and Eve. I think I said
sure.
that in the comments, right?
Yeah,
Right. So how do those two things go together? Because we know
yeah,
that genetics is real, right? We
yeah,
agree
yeah.
on that,
Genetics
right?
is, of course, of course.
Okay.
I
So
got kids, brother. I went to the doctor.
right.
You know what
So
I mean?
so
I need
good.
that.
So you know
Yeah,
how people are made, right?
yeah,
And that holds true for every creature that sexually reproduces that we know of, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
how is it that Adam and Eve could possibly be true?
yeah. I mean, I can give you how I rationalize it, right? I can base it off of scripture too. So I remember, even, and let's take it even further, right? Like the foundation story in Genesis 1, how God creates the world in 7 days.
Right.
I remember that was so
Which
absurd to me.
which which version? There's two
Ex-
versions.
exactly. Genesis 1 and Genesis 2,
Right. So which
right?
one's right? They
Yeah.
both can't be right because they're mutually exclusive.
But here, this is what I mean, right? So I remember when I was an atheist and I was reading Genesis 1, and I was like, well, let's see what this book's all about. Right, let's see what the point of this is. And I got to Genesis 1 and I started reading, and I got like halfway through Genesis chapter 1, and I was like, this is nonsense. I
Yep.
was like, this is absurd. I was like,
Yes,
this
it
is,
is.
close the book, filed, put away, right?
Yep.
Because I could not reconcile the days. I was like, what do you mean that the
The
light comes
days.
to be? Yeah,
What,
because
wait, wait, wait. Why? Wait, I'm sorry to interrupt, but why the days specifically when everything that it says in the Genesis is incorrect?
No, pero o sea, the out of chronological order. So it says that light came first and then the sun was created. Right.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
it's out of order, right? Like how could that
Okay,
be?
that's what
It
you.
doesn't.
I didn't miss. I
Yeah.
misunderstood what you meant by days. Right. Everything is out of order, not just in like one thing before the other, but things that cannot be correct. Like
Right.
so, how could it be true?
Okay, and this is the answer I'll give you. And so I was struggling with this, and as I read it, I got in the footnotes the example that we got from, I believe it was Saint Augustine, one of the great church doctors, and he made me realize I was like, wow, this is allegorical. And so if you put, for example, day one matches with day 4, day 2 matches with day
No,
5,
no,
day 3
stop
matches with
it.
day 6. Take a
So,
look.
so what you're saying is, as long as you make believe and like try to make all these connections, you can kind of make it make sense when it doesn't actually match
No,
reality.
these people
No,
are
so
Stone Age,
uh,
Bronze Age peasants in the desert.
right.
You know what I
The
mean?
whole.
They're writing this stuff, and it's they don't know what's going on. They don't know what's up and down and left and right.
So why should we
You know,
believe that the God is real?
because as you go forward into the stories, right? Because if you stop at Genesis 1, it's over. It's over.
No, if you go
You
into
know,
the story, it gets even worse.
no, but there's
It
archaeological
gets
evidence. So, for
way
example,
worse.
are you aware of the sulfur balls that they find that around the ruins of a city that are like 99% pure?
What are you talking about?
You haven't
Are
seen
you
this in
trying to say
archaeological
they
evidence?
found Sodom and Gomorrah? Is this what you're going to allude
They
to?
found one of the two.
No, they have not.
But
Stop
did you
it.
see the sulfur balls?
There's sulfur all over the place.
But not at that purity.
Oh, or is there?
That's
I bet you.
interesting.
I
That's
bet you.
interesting.
I'm willing to bet. Do you want to look? We can look it up if you want to.
We go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, let's look it up. Hold on. I gotta switch my
It's super
page
unusual.
to.
And you know what's another one that's super interesting too? Check this out. In the story of when the Jews are like wandering the desert for 40 years or however long that was, with the hundreds of thousands of people, like this number seems absurd. They come
Yeah.
across a kingdom that is going to fight them. And the king of that kingdom calls out to a sorcerer called Belial. Right? Did you know that they found a steeple, whatever they call it, one of these ruins from like 1100 BC that mentions that Belial, this minor character of the Bible?
Okay.
That's weird, man.
Is it?
That's weird?
I don't think it is, because the book was written by people, and people mention people.
And they're writing down things that happened. We
Okay.
have archaeological
What did
evidence
you
for
say
it.
we
It's
were supposed to
interesting.
be? What did you say we're supposed to be Googling? Sulfur balls of immense purity or something like that?
No, so I looked it up. Put like something to the effect of like Sodom and Gomorrah. I don't know, sulfur purity, sulfur balls, archaeological find, something. Put those keywords.
Well, why don't I skip the Sodom and Gomorrah part, because that's misleading. That's like leading the question, isn't it? So sulfur balls of purity, is that what you said?
I don't know if you're gonna.
Oh, and look, see, there we go. It comes up. The first one, it's a YouTube video of sulfur balls of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Don't look at YouTube. Like
right. And there's on eBay, there's one, sulfur balls from Sodom. You can buy them.
But put archaeology.
There's one on Etsy. Like, are you kidding?
Yeah. What about it?
This is
Discovery.com. What is that?
This is a meteor impact. Raining sulfur in the biblical city of Sodom could be explained by an impact event, which wouldn't be God.
But this might be talking about what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm not sure if this is not the same source that I saw. But what I'm saying is, it's like, this right here. This could be it.
Okay, this would not be God, and this would not be accurate to the Bible at all.
I know.
Okay, so why would the Bible be real?
But listen to me. This is my point. I used to be an atheist, bro. I get it. To an atheist, it's either all coincidence or it's all made up and we shouldn't believe it or whatever. What I'm telling you is, if you suspend disbelief, if you read the Bible like you're reading Lord of the Rings or something, okay, and you just go, okay, bro, let's see what these stories are about. Like, what is this wisdom that's supposedly in here? And you start looking at it and you go, okay, that's an interesting coincidence. Okay. And then you go from coincidence to coincidence and you got to go, okay, let me see what's going on.
Manny, you're literally talking about playing make-believe.
Well, you just saw it. They did find some ruins with some meteorite sulfur balls, right? That's not, I didn't make that up, right? Can we admit I didn't make that up?
This right here is what you're talking about, raining sulfur And you
Right,
think
but
that
did I make that up? Did I make
that
that up?
there are sulfur balls and they found
No.
Sodom and Gomorrah? I'm not saying that you made it up. I'm saying that you
Okay.
saw something that you're repeating. But
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not an archaeologist, brother.
okay,
What do you want me to do?
okay, but you can see the Google search behind you, right? You can see this page.
Yeah.
Like, do I need to like zoom in a little here?
No, it looks good. It looks good.
There is absolutely none of these entries are actual. You can see this. This is YouTube and Reddit. This one that
What's
discovery.com.
discovery.com?
That's the one we just looked at.
I know, but who are these people? Is this a reputable website? I don't know. What kind of
this looks like it's from the TV channel.
But is that the science channel?
The Discovery Channel. And I wouldn't take this as actual science. And if anything, this is saying that it could explain.
So
okay,
like archaeology or something. Like, you got to look for this stuff.
How about we do this? What I mean? Have
put archaeology? No, put archaeology, Sodom and Gomorrah.
Sodom and I can't even write. Or type rather. No definitive evidence. Despite extensive archaeological investigations, no conclusive remains of Sodom and Gomorrah have been discovered.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we have not discovered Sodom and Gomorrah.
Okay, I mean, this is the headline. Can we look at the things?
Look at what's things. There is no definitive evidence.
Keep looking.
There is no evidence that we have found Sodom and Gomorrah.
I know, but we just saw, what is the Discovery TV people referring to?
We don't need to look at that.
Well, okay, but that's my point, right? So if you're comfortable with not looking for it when there is some evidence out there, then that's fine.
We don't need to look at that thing from Discovery because it said right there in the headline that it could, and it was a meteor impact that they were talking about.
Yeah, how else would God do it?
What? So you're just going to throw in?
Why wouldn't he use a meteorite?
You're literally just going to throw in God because an old book says so, and then these people say that, hey, there might have been a meteor like
I think
impact.
It's interesting.
It's very interesting that people write down things that happen and they invent reasons for them.
Exactly. And
so
now
that doesn't mean wait.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that the God is real. That means that people wrote down stuff.
Yeah, that's fine. I know. Listen, there's no amount of evidence that's going to prove God. It's almost like an impossibility.
So if
but we need to let's take that further.
Manny,
right?
Hold on. If the things that are attributed to the God are not true, why are we believing in the God?
Okay. Well, we just saw that there may have been a meteorite and whatever, right?
Let's
true. We didn't make that up.
Is Adam and Eve true?
So I think Adam and Eve may have happened.
No, it didn't.
Why not?
We know it did not happen for a fact.
Okay. Well,
do you know? Do you want to know why?
No, but I can tell you.
You don't want to know why we know that for a fact.
Genesis 2 fits very nicely with Genesis 1.
Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 have two different versions of how the people were created.
Exactly.
So, what do you mean exactly? There's two different versions. Neither one of them is correct.
Well, they can't, like, what I'm trying to say is you can fit our modern understanding of the world with Genesis 1 and 2 together.
You absolutely cannot. In no way can you.
Why not?
Because it does not fit, Manny. Do you know the term endogenous retroviruses?
No, I'm not a doctor.
Okay, I'm not either, but I know this term. We can look at this. This is a very interesting thing. Okay, I need to put this back to here. And if I can actually type here, endogenous retroviruses. Okay, endogenous retroviruses are fragments of retroviral DNA that have become permanently integrated into the genomes of various species, including humans. These ERVs are remnants of past retroviral infections that occurred in the germline, meaning they were passed down through successive generations. While often described as junk DNA or fossil viruses, ERVs play various roles, including regulating gene expression, influencing development, and potential impact health and disease. Do you understand what that means?
Sure. I mean, yeah.
No, don't say sure. Do you understand what it means? The ramifications and the implications.
I can read it, right?
Okay.
So I understand what I read. Yeah.
Okay. Now, my question was, do you understand the ramifications and implications of what those things are?
Not to the level you have, I'm sure.
Okay. They are like scars in our DNA. You
Sure.
get that?
Yeah.
We have the generational scars in our DNA from all of the generations of creatures that came before us. And they're
Okay.
part of our DNA. They make up approximately 8% of our DNA.
Okay.
Okay, do you understand that? That 8%.
I take it. I believe you, brother. I believe you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
8%.
Now listen to me. That proves beyond debate that we did not poof into existence as human beings.
Okay.
Okay, so how can Adam and Eve, in a story that says that we poofed into existence as human beings, how can that be real when our DNA, the very substance of us, says that is not true?
Bueno, okay, I can posit some theories, brother, but I don't know if you want to hear them.
Okay,
You know what I
but
mean?
if you're
Like, I can. What I'm telling you is, I can rationalize it. I can give you an argument, but does it matter?
you're never going to change your mind, are you? You've already
No.
decided what you think is real.
But I know what you're saying, bro.
But I don't think you do. I'm saying that the stuff in the Bible cannot be true.
Okay, it can't be true if you think it's literally like what it says.
So are you saying that the God is literally true? It's real?
God's real. Yeah.
But the things about the God are false.
Well, no, some of them are exaggeration, some are allegorical. We don't know.
But we do.
For example, I can
stop
tell you this.
it. No, Manny, stop.
But let me
no,
get
wait.
You said plenty.
Manny,
Let me tell you
this.
Let me tell you this.
Wait.
Let me
you can in just a second. You started to say something and it was so ridiculous.
Okay.
You said that we can just make stuff up and if we can rationalize and we can play make believe. And as long as we do that, then God's real.
I said those words. I didn't say that.
No, what did you say? We can rationalize.
Yeah.
And we can what?
Make up or play make believe.
What was the word you used?
Yeah. So
what was the word?
I'm trying to tell you.
What was the word you just used?
I don't remember. I don't have a transcript.
Let
me tell you what I'm trying to say. Let me get an honest word edgewise.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that the claim of the Torah, which are the first 5 books of the Old Testament, and in general, all of the books of the Bible, none of them claim to be the direct word of God in the same way that the Muslims claim the Quran is.
Right? I don't care if they're the direct word of God.
Okay, that's
are the things things that are attributed to the God true or not?
Yeah, they're true. In some sense,
so Adam and Eve is real, is what you're telling me.
I think something like that happened for sure.
Adam and Eve cannot be real, Manny. Period.
Why can't there be a group of humans that God had a direct relationship with?
What are you talking about? Our DNA itself shows us that we are not creatures that were created.
But what I'm saying is the only humans weren't Adam and Eve in the families, right? Because, for example, in Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, when Adam and Eve have children, and then
all of a sudden there's just magically more people.
That's exactly my
point. When it says that Adam and Eve are the progenitors of us.
Exactly.
So where did the people come from?
Exactly, brother. That's my point.
So what are you talking about? You're explaining how it doesn't make sense and how it's not real.
I'm explaining how
it's not real, Manny.
What I'm trying to tell you is that these Bronze Age peasants. I know.
No. I'm not talking about the book. I'm talking about you. I don't get it how you are playing make believe and you don't see it.
Okay, again, I understand your point of view. I used to be there.
Right? No, I don't think you were.
This is like Swiss cheese.
Because if you were where I am, you would be honest.
I'm being honest with you. I'm not live looking at the camera. I'm telling you.
How are you being honest? Is Adam and Eve true? Is Adam and Eve true?
In some way, for sure. Yeah.
How is it real? Adam and Eve does not fit with the evidence that we have found. It cannot be true because we are not created people. We're not. Okay. We're born of successive generations of previous creatures, and we have evolved along with everything else on this planet.
Yeah.
We are another creature just like everything else. We're not special. Yes. We weren't made.
I know your point.
We didn't pop into existence as human beings.
Made from clay and whittled from the rib, and I get it. I know what you're saying.
So you're saying that it's not real. No, say it. Say Adam and Eve is not true.
No, 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 no.
Say
What
it.
I'm telling you,
Say it, Manny.
but this is what I mean.
Manny,
This is what I mean.
Adam and Eve is not true.
But you asked me to be honest.
I
And you
am.
say,
Is Adam and Eve
you
true?
listen, but yes, in some way it is.
Why are you lying to me, Manny?
I'm not lying to you.
Okay? Can
this is what happened.
Be real if it does not comport with reality?
Okay.
It doesn't fit.
It can't be real. Absolutely.
As long as you play make-believe.
Well, that's your choice of words. That's what I would.
Okay, so what would your choice of words be?
Yeah, if I'm allowed to tell you, that'd be dandy. So what I'm trying to tell you is there's no science in the Bible, right?
Nope.
So if you're trying to find like this proof and the hypothesis and thesis and whatever, it's a non-starter.
Manny, right? I'm comparing reality with the claims made.
That's fine, but the claims are made by people that don't know anything.
Who cares? We do now.
I do.
So you're saying as long as someone doesn't know what the truth is, they can claim anything, and then that just has to be true?
What I'm trying to tell you is that there's value in these stories.
I didn't say there wasn't value you can find. Okay. I said it ain't real.
That's okay. But now this is how we do it. So when we look at Genesis, we understand that as the foundation to a narrative of a story that begins and ends with Jesus, right? So these details,
the story doesn't begin with Jesus.
Yes, it does. The whole story is about Jesus.
No, it's not. The Old Testament has absolutely nothing to do with Jesus.
And this is what I mean. And this is a process of discovery. Right?
No,
so
Manny, stop it with your apologetics nonsense. Is the Bible true or not?
Yes, the Bible's true.
So you're telling me that Adam and Eve is true. You're telling me that the Tower of Babel happened.
Something like that happened for sure.
You're telling me that a mud brick tower was so tall that it offended the God, but we've been in orbit for almost a century, and God seems to just not care about that?
Yeah, who knows what that's talking about?
Manny, the story in the Bible is like 8 sentences long, and it specifically says that they were building a tower, and God said, whoa, they're going to do all kinds of crazy stuff. I can't let that happen. And he confused their language, and that's how we have different languages.
Around the world and etc. Yeah.
Except that that's not true, Manny.
Okay, but do you understand that this is not?
Why do you just get to say okay, but and then make up shit?
But we're not making anything up. I'm
yes,
telling you how.
Are.
But are you hoping that, for example, when you see these extraordinary stories, that you think that the Bible is exactly word for word true, right? Like this is exactly how it happened. There was Adam and Eve and then everybody else, right?
So what you're saying is that it's not true.
What I'm telling you is the value of it is true, even if the details are made up by some people in the desert 1,500 years ago.
So you're saying it's not true, Manny.
But what the truth is what's in the story, what it's trying to tell you.
What?
That's what
there are specific claims made. Right?
Yeah, and you look at any one of them and
they're not real. You look at any one of them and they're not real.
Exactly. If you look at any one of them individually, it's
why do you say exactly and then tell me it's real? It's not real, Manny.
Because what is real in a scientific sense, you're not going to find it in the Bible. None of it is real then.
I'm not talking about a scientific sense. I'm talking about looking at reality.
Retroviruses.
I'm talking about looking at reality that we know is real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you compare it to the Bible, and it doesn't match. So you're saying it doesn't match reality, and you're saying it's real. How?
Don't look for science in the Bible, brother.
I didn't say look for science. I said compare it to reality.
Yeah.
So you know how babies are born.
Yeah, I have two.
Are they made with mud and by stealing a rib from someone? No. Are they made by having one person and then, like you said, stealing a rib from them and making a female clone of that person and then them having babies? What happens to that kind of person?
That's not how mine were made. I'll tell you.
That's right. Because what would happen? That would be called incest. And what happens when you get incest?
Yeah, degeneration.
Right. So you're saying that this is real, that Adam and Eve is real.
Something like that happened. Yeah.
Stop lying to me, Manny.
Well, you asked me what I believe. I understand you don't believe
understand that. Okay, you can say you believe that, but you know that you're lying. You know you're lying.
I don't know that I'm lying.
Yes.
We just have, we have.
Is Adam and Eve
here,
real? Is that how babies are made at, Manny? Is it real? Is Adam and Eve true?
Something like that happened.
Stop lying. Stop it.
In fact,
you already said it was a story written down by Bronze Age peasants in the desert, and they didn't know anything. And you do know better. You know better.
Yeah.
Stop it, Manny. You're making crap up.
But why is it making you upset?
Because this is what's wrong with the goddamn world. Everybody out here, just like you, is playing make-believe and saying they know shit.
Okay, but
no, you don't.
Let me ask you.
Stop it.
Let me ask you something.
Sure.
Just relax with the that the world is messed up and the pinnacle of people or the atheists or something. That everything is wrong with the world is because people make.
It's because people like you don't care. You don't care what's real. You just
know what I care about? Let me tell you what I care about. You know what I care about? I care about my family.
Yep. If you cared about your family, you would stop lying to them.
But we're not lying.
Yes, you are. Why are you playing make-believe about a fucking storybook from 2,000 years ago that was written down by Bronze Age goat herders?
But you're getting upset, bro.
I am, because you keep lying to me.
Okay, listen, if you think I'm lying to you, it's because you're not listening to me.
No, it's because I am listening to you that I know you're lying to me.
You're not really letting me get a word in edgewise.
Sure I am. Okay. Every time I try and let you talk, you lie. Okay. Is Adam and Eve real?
But we need to move from the point of view that I have a differing opinion than you. And when I speak to you about my opinion, it's not me lying to you. It's me attempting to articulate my point of view. If you don't let me do that, and it's because I'm lying, okay, bro, then I can't tell you anything.
Okay.
What do you want me to tell you?
This is really simple then. Let's do this, okay? Ready? Yeah. Are you ready? Yeah. Is Adam and Eve real?
In some sense, for sure.
In what sense? Because it's not the way it's written down, neither version of them comport with reality.
Okay. In the sense that we have a narrative
that does not fit reality.
Years. Well, it's a narrative over 1,800 years in 72 books.
No, I'm not talking about the Bible, Manny. Okay, I asked a very specific question.
Genesis isn't a standalone thing.
Stop it. Is Adam and Eve real?
That's what I mean.
Is it real or not? I'm not talking about Genesis.
In some way.
Yes. Adam and Eve is in no way real. It cannot be.
Hey, I'm not telling you it's scientifically real. I don't know if that's exactly what happened. It's unlikely, right? Because of
just say it, Manny.
Give it to us,
Why do you have to play this deceitful game?
Okay, deceitful again. Even the question.
You just said it.
What I'm telling you is the basis of the faith.
It's not real. Adam and Eve is not real.
Okay, but listen to me.
Okay, but listen to me.
Material.
Yes, it is. It's very material because if Adam and Eve is not real, where does sin come from?
I can tell you. Okay, have you had a chance maybe to read the book of Enoch as well?
I read it. It's been like 20 years, but yeah.
I thought the book of Enoch was fantastic, and so there's something going on that I believe that links us.
Why are you avoiding this?
I'm trying to answer your question.
Yeah, except you're not.
But you asked me where the sin come from. Can I give that a shot?
This is a very simple answer. It comes from the eating of the fruit with Adam and Eve, doesn't it?
Yes and no, and there's other stories. This is not enough. It's not.
What are you talking about?
What does the apple?
That's the entire basis of Christianity is the eating of the fruit and the original sin.
Serpent. Who's the serpent?
In the Bible, it's written that it is a snake. It does not say a single thing about the devil.
Okay.
Nothing. Nothing. Not a word.
Put it together with the book of Enoch.
Right. That they wrote later and they made stuff up and then you get to make stuff up about it.
The book of Enoch. No, the book of Enoch.
What are you doing?
The book of Enoch was contemporary to the Torah. Okay. So I don't see what the issue is here. And the thing is
very simple.
So the point of the faith,
simple.
But the point of the faith is not Genesis. The point of the faith is Jesus.
I know. Right? What is Jesus supposed to be saving you from?
Was there a historical person called Jesus that died on the cross?
There might have been.
No, there is. We know that.
Well,
because the closer we get to our own time,
there's evidence that there might have been.
No, there is evidence that for sure. There's more evidence for him than Julius Caesar and Alexander the Great.
No, there's not.
Yes,
there is
the manuscripts
not,
and the records and everything. Absolutely.
No, there's not. Yes, there's like one reference to a guy named Christos that got crucified. Stop it.
There's more than one
There's
reference.
there's a couple of
And
things that are
and
mostly in the Bible. There's
no
nothing
extra
else.
biblical evidence for sure,
No,
100%. Yeah. In
absolutely
fact, the
not.
earliest one is 60 AD graffiti in Rome, making fun of Christians for believing in their crucified God. Right?
That doesn't show anything that Jesus is real. That
Okay, we
shows that
also have
people
the
were
writings.
making fun of Christians for making shit up.
Okay, it's a very interesting thing to make fun of.
So why are
different
you
faiths when they're all
avoiding my
pagans.
questions, Manny?
Because what I'm telling you is, if Jesus
Manny,
was real,
Manny,
right, which we know he's real.
Stop.
No, but you're asking me a question.
No, but I'm
gonna answer the
asking
question.
you a very specific question, and you are avoiding it at all costs.
What am I avoiding?
What is Jesus supposed to be saving you from?
He's saving me from sin and sin offerings.
And where does sin come from? It is a very specific thing. It says so in the Bible. Where does sin come from?
From our evil inclinations, for sure.
No, where does sin come from?
From the fallen state of the world.
How did that happen? Why are you avoiding this?
If you're reading Genesis, it's
so what you're saying. If you read the Bible says that it came from Adam and Eve.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And Adam and Eve did not happen.
Okay, but you're stuck on whether or not Adam and Eve happened. I'm telling you, symbolically, that happened.
So symbolically, we should believe that sin is an actual thing.
Sin is 100% a real thing, brother.
But we have to believe that
is real.
We have to believe this symbolically.
And you are
Manny,
either
what are you doing, man?
You're either a slave to sin or you love the truth.
No.
Yeah.
You either
100%.
make stuff up or you're honest and you actually look at the shit for what it is.
I do.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you do not.
Sin is real, brother. You don't think sin is real? You don't think evil is real?
Evil, like people do evil things. Evil is not an actual like thing that exists in the world.
And evil thoughts that come to you and evil inclinations that you may have and pride and envy and lust and greed.
What?
These things are like innate in us.
And
that is the sin. That is the sin of the world right there. You live it every day in your experience.
What are you babbling about, man?
What I'm trying to tell you is that is what Jesus came to offer.
Sin is a very specific thing, is it not? Sin is an offense against some deity.
Yeah, everything takes you away from God.
Right.
Yeah.
Except that we know that the story that says where sin came from did not happen.
Well, it happened in some type of way.
Why do you say that? You keep saying that, but you don't say that it... Okay, do you know that there was no first human?
Yeah, probably like we have all these caves and...
There was no very first human being.
Sure.
So how could there have been a very first human being? That's what Adam and Eve is, that there was the first human. There was not.
I'm not stuck on that. I'm like, okay, there's something happened, bro. And this is the best explanation these people gave us.
And it was incorrect.
Sure. It's not scientifically real.
It's not real.
Yeah.
Take the scientific out.
Listen, something happened. Who knows?
Take the word scientific out and say that sentence again. It's not real.
Listen, maybe it didn't
it's
happen
not
exactly
real,
like that.
Manny.
Maybe it didn't happen exactly like that.
It's not real. You're playing make-believe. You are operating on a false premise. You think that this...
definitely real.
Manny, you think that you have found some transcendent truth passed down to you from Bronze Age goat herders.
I didn't find it. It's always been there.
No, you think this was passed down to you.
Oh, to me, personally?
Yes, every Christian does. That's why they believe it.
The truth is there.
Did God create you?
No, my parents created me, right?
Right, because you know how DNA works.
Yeah.
Right, so why are you stuck on this Adam and Eve nonsense?
I'm not stuck on it. You're stuck on it.
You think sin is real.
Yeah,
you're stuck on it.
Sin is definitely real.
No, it's not. Sin is an imaginary concept.
Well, it might be imaginary to you, but for us that struggle against sin, we know it's real. I struggle against sin.
You don't know. You play make-believe because you think that Adam and Eve can somehow be true, even though it's not true. You think that the God can be real when every single claim made
But
about it in the book is false.
But you understand that the sin that's
So
being
you're telling me that
no, but
everything is
listen,
false and it's real.
but listen, this
But
is the issue.
listen,
No, this is the issue. You're trying to attribute all sin to Adam and Eve when that's not the sin that the Bible's talking about. The
that's
Bible
what the
is
book
clearly
says,
talking about.
Manny.
But let me tell you
Manny,
what else the book says. Let me tell you what else
give
the
me
book
a
says.
break, dude.
Okay. Are you aware of all the different sins that are outlined in the book of Leviticus and Numbers and Deuteronomy and Exodus?
Yeah.
Right. So there's a variety of sin that God has told us this is what he doesn't want. And those are the sins that when the Israelites break it, they have to do a sin offering. And it's sacrifice goats and sheep and whatever.
So why aren't people still killing stuff and like spreading blood around?
Because Jesus Christ came and fulfilled the ultimate suffering.
Do you know that Jesus didn't fulfill any messianic prophecies? Not a single one.
Well, we know a variety that do.
No, Jesus didn't do any of them.
Yes, he did. Well, are you using the Masoretic text or the Septuagint?
Any of them in the Bible? Any of the claims
which one, the Septuagint or the Masoretic text?
Why does it matter?
Because if you use a Masoretic text that came written in the year 90 by the Jews that reject Jesus, they remove a lot of the specific references to Jesus's fulfilling these prophecies. If you
can go read the book, and you can you could go and look at the quote unquote prophecies.
Yeah, but which one are you talking about? He didn't fulfill
every one of them. Every one of them that they say in the Gospels that he fulfilled. Go read the actual prophecy.
Yeah.
Go back and look at Isaiah where Matthew's talking about him riding on the donkey and all that junk. Go look at Isaiah. It has nothing to do with Jesus. Absolutely nothing.
Well, that's what the Jewish position is.
It doesn't matter what the Jewish position is, and it doesn't matter what they knew then. It matters what we know now.
But we know what the prophecy says. In Isaiah, it says that
and he didn't fulfill them. So how could he possibly be the Messiah?
Of course he fulfilled them. He fulfilled.
No, he did not.
Okay, which one didn't he not fulfill?
Any of them.
Can you give me one?
Name one that he fulfilled.
I can tell you exactly the one that he fulfilled.
Name it.
The one when he is in Isaiah, it talks about the fact that the Messiah will be scourged, will be pierced for our transgression.
Nope.
And he will be,
And yes, and it was not talking about Jesus. Go back and look at it.
Yes, it
does.
Go back and look at it. Wonderful Counselor, Powerful God. It actually specifically refers to the fact that the Messiah will be a God. It says it in the Old Testament.
Which Isaiah is that? Is Isaiah 53?
I got it. You're going to make me have to look it up.
I put it up on the screen.
Isaiah 53.
Is it Isaiah 53? I think it is.
They'll put Wonderful Counselor. Do you have it on the screen? Okay, I put you over here to the side.
Surely he took up our pain and bore our suffering, yet we considered him punished by God, stricken by him and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. Yeah, he's not talking about Jesus. Do you know the context of the story?
But look, Isaiah 9:6, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given.
Yeah, those are you just referenced two different prophecies, and neither one of them are talking about Jesus.
I'm talking about I told you, Wonderful Counselor, the mighty God, the everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. So a child is born unto us. This is what he says here. Okay.
Are you in 9? Because you referenced two different things here.
I'm at 9:6 and then 53.
Okay. Yeah, I'm at 53 because that's the one you said first. It's the pierced for our, right?
Yeah.
He was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquity, the bruise, depending on your translation. Right. Yeah. This isn't talking about Jesus. The he in there is Israel.
I mean, that's, again, the Jewish perspective.
It's what it says in the book, man.
I mean,
if you read Isaiah, the context of the story.
Isaiah is prophetic. It's
not. It's contemporary. No, it's not.
No,
that he's talking about is
who's the child that's born in Isaiah 9?
It's the king that comes. Cyrus
Jesus,
or whatever.
Exactly. No.
It's Cyrus. It's which the verse in Isaiah 9? Isaiah 9.
Isaiah 9, verse 6.
6. Oh,
so
I'm an idiot.
You have to put the parentheses. Or not parentheses, but
I can just scroll down. 6. For to us a child is born. That's present tense. So when Isaiah wrote this, he's saying a child
Keep going,
is.
keep going,
No,
keep going.
Okay,
going.
I am, but you're not listening.
No, you're not reading. Read 6 all the way.
I am. Stop a second. It says, for to us a child is born. Do you see that? Is. That's present tense.
I know, but listen, you
to us a son
if you want to do
is.
that, if you want to,
Will you let me
Greek
read? You're telling me to read it, and then you keep interrupting me. I am.
Read it.
For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Faith, Prince of Peace. Do you know who he's talking about?
Father. Yeah, Mighty God.
Father.
Definitely talking about Jesus.
He's not talking about Jesus.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
King David's throne.
Okay. I'm going to go back to Google here. Okay. We're going to go back to Google, and I'm going to switch my page to here. And we're going to say in
even listen, right there it says it's talking about Jesus Christ. But let me tell you this, Johnny.
I
understand that
this is traditionally understood.
Exactly. This is what I'm trying to tell you. There are other people that would say no.
You didn't even finish reading the paragraph that you're trying to cite. It says it's traditionally understood to be the Messiah, Jesus Christ, whose birth is prophesied in this passage. However, some interpretations also suggest the child could refer to King Hezekiah, who was praised for his righteous rule. Okay, and I don't even think that's right. I'm pretty sure it's about Cyrus.
Okay, but they wouldn't call him Mighty God.
But they did, because it's in the originals it said Lord, and Lord was confusing.
I'm sure. So my point is that we can do verses, right? Which is a funny way of putting it. What I'm trying to tell you is
it's not real.
The Old Testament has a variety of prophecies that point to Jesus. Even, for example, isn't it interesting? Look at Melchizedek. That you like Genesis anyways. You like going all the way back to the earliest parts. Look at Melchizedek. He is like a forerunner of Jesus. He's coming out of Jerusalem, and he offers bread and wine to Abraham, right? That's an interesting thing. This character that comes out, he prefigures he's a king and he's also a priest, right? And he's offering the same thing that Jesus offers in the Last Supper, which is the bread and blood. So it's like that's hearkening to Genesis. There's another part in Genesis, for example. Even we talked about this, the Sodom and Gomorrah story. You know why I find that interesting, right? Because if you pull up, I think it's like 12 maybe, but I'm not too sure. It makes a reference to the fact that there's like multiple gods. Okay, like isn't that interesting, right? Like these monotheist Jews in their scripture talk about multiple gods.
Do you not know anything of the origin of Yahweh with the whole Canaanite pantheon? But
that's not the Yahweh I'm talking about. Let me show you this one.
Manny, what are you doing, dude? The whole thing is just you playing make-believe, man.
I'm citing you the verses in the chapters now. Okay, so I didn't write this. I didn't make this up. It's there. Okay, so I think it's 12. It's like the Lord rain down fire from the Lord in heaven. So that's Genesis 19:24. And if you actually go to the Hebrew interlinear, right? Because a lot is lost in translation. You know what I mean? If you go to the Hebrew interlinear, what's interesting, it says that Yahweh called down fire from Yahweh in heaven. So even then, we start seeing explanations for the Trinity. It's in the Old Testament too. So we start seeing all these prophecies pointing to Jesus. Jesus is an actual historical figure. There's a lot of archaeological records that are cited in the Bible. It's interesting, bro. You think they're coincidences. Okay. You think it's all messed up and Genesis and Adam and Eve and whatever. Full stop, close the book, put it away. What I'm telling you is, brother, there's a lot of interesting coincidences in there. Super interesting coincidences.
That's funny because, people write down things that, make sense to them at the time, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And where they write down stories that they think are correct.
Yeah. Exactly. They think, bro, they don't even have the words to describe to. They're trying their best. These are peasant people trying their best to write down an explanation for something.
So why?
Like in Ezekiel, for example.
Wait, hold on. You're running away from the thought, man.
Okay, which one?
That these people just wrote down stuff that they thought was right. So why should we think that they're right when we know that the things they wrote down aren't right?
But I
But
understand what you're
no,
saying. I
but
understand what you're saying.
so
Listen
why?
to me. Don't think that
Why?
I'm not understanding your point. I 100% understand your point.
Okay, my
Right?
point is that you're playing make believe.
Okay, I understand that this is your ultimate conclusion, that it's all nonsense, and so why are we even wasting our time with it? Right?
No, my ultimate point is that it's all nonsense and that this is harmful, Manny.
No, I think to the contrary. I think what
No,
we've seen.
I just sit here and play make believe, and I say the things that aren't real are real, even though I know they're not.
But let me ask you,
it's not harmful at all, dude.
But let me ask you something, Johnny. Have you ever heard me say that I'm talking make believe? You don't have to, characterize.
Manny,
my
you
position.
don't think you're playing make believe. Why would you say that?
I think I'm an articulate person. I think we're having a reasonable conversation.
I think so too.
Okay, I've never told you I'm making this up. Don't make fun of my position like this.
Manny,
that's what you say.
No,
I didn't say that.
Listen, how would you say that you're making it up? You think it's real.
You said I said that. I didn't say
no,
that.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying that you said that. I'm saying that's what you're doing.
Okay, then yeah. Well, that's your opinion from your paradigm.
Listen, I made this channel specifically to have direct confrontations with Christians. Okay, I was raised in the church, brother. Like I got fed this stuff as a child, and I figured.
Which one?
I'm a born again Christian, man, evangelical.
See, this is the
Porterville Believers Church.
Which one?
Porterville Believers Church in Porterville, California.
What may I ask? Sorry, I don't. This is what my channel's about. It's about just talking about this too, not in a confrontational way. Maybe it comes across that way, but may I ask you? So this church, this was a church of your childhood that your parents used to take you to?
Yes. I was raised in it.
And it was, you said evangelical. Did it have a specific denomination?
Just born again Christians, man.
So what is
that's seriously born again Christians?
Yeah. And what did they?
Evangelical, like
what? Because I'm not even. I went from being Catholic to atheist to Catholic.
Wait, but that's the thing is, do you know how many sects of Christianity there are?
A lot, brother.
Yeah, there's something like 45,000 of them.
Well, no, that's a little.
No, it's not. I'm not. Look, you can Google that one, man. There's
it depends how you carve up the denominations. You know what I mean?
Well,
because you have non-denominational that are the largest denomination
that just say whatever they choose, what they pick, and they like because that's what Christianity is cherry picking the good things that you like and then getting rid of the bad things that you don't like, and you play make believe and you make up your own God.
But that's the problem. I agree with you. You listen. You got to take this thing whole part and parcel.
So if you agree with me. If you agree with me, why are you holding
regarding the denominations? Regarding the, you know what I mean? Regarding the denominations.
What I just said about the denominations,
Christians,
what I just said about the denominations is that they all play make believe and they decide what they want to believe is real. And you agreed with me.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing too.
Well, okay. I understand how that's from your point of view.
Manny, you agreed with me, brother.
I do. May I offer a defense to why that doesn't apply to me?
Because you get to be a special pleading person? You can special plead and say it's true for them, but it's not true for me.
You can. I know you. I understand. That may be your point of view. I may fail to convince you, and that may be the reason why it sounds like special pleading. But allow me to at least attempt it. Okay? Please, sure. In good faith, bro. In good faith, brother. Come on, brother.
There is no such thing. There is no such thing as good faith.
Between you and me. Between you and me.
There is no such thing as good faith.
Faith can describe something other than God. I believe that you are a reasonable person. That's a belief. That's a faith.
Reason and faith are opposites.
Okay, but I have faith that we can talk about this.
I have no faith in anything.
Okay, well, good for you.
I have reason to believe that we could talk about this.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I don't need faith. Why would I need faith, man? Faith is believing in things for no good reason.
And that is at the crux of this conversation. I understand, right? So it's like it's like begging the point. But this is what I mean. This is what I mean. So and I to be totally transparent and frank with you, I don't think Catholicism is immune to some of these criticisms I'm about to say. But what I'm going to say is so we obviously have the story of the Old Testament pointing to Jesus, and then we have a post-Jesus story. And that post-Jesus story involves the foundation of the church and the beliefs. And so we know that first century church was an actual place with an institution, address, beliefs, structures. We have the writings of the church fathers, and we have ancient documents from them. So we know that there is a church, and that church, more than likely, from my research and my, like soul searching or whatever, imaginary searching, as you would say, is pointing a lot to the Orthodox Church. And when we look at that church, the fullness of the faith is there. I can see how somebody that had a piece of it or a fragment of it in a Protestant church, an evangelical church, or something like this, can be, put off because it's like an incomplete story. It's an incomplete narrative. And it's like you're not being fed the full truth. And so that would be my special pleading. That would be it. I would say, listen, these Protestant churches, the problem is that they are specifically man-made. You look them up. When were they founded? The Baptist Church was founded in the 1800s. The Restoration was founded in the 1880s.
You could look up when the Catholic Church was founded too. Like
Google it. See what Google tells you.
I don't need to.
Google it.
It was founded back in the day. I don't care.
But see what Google tells you. You have Siri? Ask your phone. Phone.
What does this have to do with it being true or not?
No,
you're saying is that you decided that you like the one that the Catholics made up.
No, the Orthodox. I'm leaning.
Oh, the Orthodox.
I'm Catholic. I'm raised Catholic, but I'm looking at the Orthodox Church. But look up Google. You have Siri? Ask Siri who founded the Catholic Church.
Why?
You've never done it? You're not curious?
I'm sure. But
look it up.
Why? What is this supposed to do?
Nothing, bro. I'm just telling you, it's different than the Protestant church. Just take a look.
Who founded the Catholic Church? Or when?
No, who?
Yeah, they say, right, according to sacred tradition.
Well, the Bible. Yeah.
Right. It's not according to the Bible. The Catholic Church is not mentioned in the Bible at all. Stop it.
I know. Of course it is.
No, it's not. No, it's not. This is according to sacred tradition. The Catholic Church was founded by Jesus Christ. You're literally saying that.
But read the next sentence.
Huh?
Read the next sentence.
The New Testament records Jesus' activities and his teachings, his appointment of the 12 apostles, and instructions to them to continue his work. That has nothing to do at all with the Catholic Church.
Bueno, who was the first pope? Do you know?
Are you going to say Jesus?
No, of course it can't be. It's a non-starter. It's a non-sequitur. See who the first pope was. Who's the first bishop of Rome?
Traditionally.
No, we know he died.
It says it.
We know,
dude.
know he died there in Rome.
No, it says it right here. It says the traditionally recognized first pope is Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything, dude. It's you are so lost.
No,
you are so lost. You are stuck in the traditions.
How did Peter die? How did Peter die?
Manny, stop.
Look it up.
Manny, stop it.
Why do you get upset? Why do you get upset?
Because all you're doing is going off on nonsense and playing make-believe.
Okay, but I didn't make any of that up. I didn't make
No, I'm not saying that
he died.
Okay, Manny, I'm not saying that you're... I'm not saying that your searchings you found like imaginary things and you're imagining the things you found. I'm saying that the things that you are saying are real are not.
Okay. I mean, the church is real.
I know the church is real and people make stuff up and they play games.
And we know that St. Peter was real. He was martyred in Rome. What's the last time somebody died for a lie? That's the part that's interesting to me, right? So
people die for lies every single day, Manny.
I don't know of any example.
Sure. Do they know it was a lie? Do they believe it was real?
So you're left with three choices. You're left with three choices.
Oh my God.
They're crazy. Jesus is crazy. He's actually God, or he's a liar. It's one of these three.
Well, Jesus was a liar and a fraud.
Okay,
I'm not the guy that does. If I really had to, I could show you this in the Bible, but you should go to a channel here on YouTube called Deconstruction Zone. There's a guy over there. His name is skipping me. Oh, anyway, Deconstruction Zone. He is the guy. He will destroy any biblical commentary you have. He's a scholar. What's his name?
Okay.
I cannot remember
You know,
his name.
even this atheist biblical scholar by the name of is it Aaron Baum? They like citing him a lot. He's like, yeah, Jesus is real and he was crucified.
There is a little. Okay, we have disconnected.
I'm on air. Well, I'm
Hey,
going to
you're
take
back.
over here. So listen to me. Don't get caught up
All right, hold
on
on a
the
second.
Old
We just got
Testament
disconnected
and
for a
Adam and
second.
Eve and
Hold on a second.
Was it
Manny.
300,000 Jews leaving Egypt and all this?
Manny, can you hear me?
The mind rebels, but you need to try to reach out to the wisdom and the knowledge that's in there. And when you do that and you understand that it's all a prefigurement of Jesus,
Hello.
and that we have
Can you hear me,
historical
Manny?
evidence that Jesus was real and that he was crucified, and that the people that he was hanging around with all see him and they're like, oh my God, he's real. And they're preaching this. And on the point of death, you know, they're threatened with death. They're like, recant or you're going to be killed. They're like, I'd rather die. And St. Peter, the first pope in Rome, when they tell him we're going to be crucified, he's like, please crucify me upside down. I'm not worthy of dying in the same way as my Lord. So there's plenty of archaeological evidence to you know, that it's not that
Manny,
it proves the Bible's right. It proves that the Bible is documenting things that actually happened.
Can you hear me?
So in some way, these things
I don't
are
think
true.
you can hear me, dude.
And I would encourage everybody to read UFO Deception by an Orthodox priest. I would encourage everybody to read the Book of Enoch.
Okay.
Your internet crash.
Okay. Yeah. Are you still here, Manny? Are you back?
So, you know, God bless him. There's a lot of people out there that are like church hurt. I think I was too. And you're just like sick of the people and the believers, and you're sick of your individual churches. But we got to get over that, man. We got to get over that and just search out for the truth and, you know, do some soul searching. You know, we're all broken people. It's a matter of trying to figure out why are we broken? What can we do to get better? And so I guess I'll leave it at that. I don't know if
are you
Johnny's
not connected anymore, man? I can hear you and I can see you. But I think
it was a great conversation. I'm going to upload the whole thing.
Yeah. Can you not see me, bro?
I'm not qualified to talk about like genetic code and this and that. You know what I mean? That's beyond me. I don't know anything about this. That doesn't form the foundation of my faith. But anyways, thank you everybody, you know, who's watching this now. God bless you. And,
okay.
Please leave me a like or a comment, subscribe.
Okay, well, that was Manny. He apparently couldn't hear me there at the end. I'm going to talk to him and we'll hopefully have him back and hopefully not get disconnected next time. So there we go. We'll see what happens.